and welcome back to my second channel. I hope you all are doing really well today on this very cold and snowy day. We got our first snowfall when I'm filming this, so it is chilly, it is dark, but I've got myself a cup of tea and we are going to have a nice little cozy video together. It's requested for me to talk about tips for how to make long distance work, and I thought that this would actually be a great video idea because this is not my first long distance relationship. This is actually my second, so your girl has some experience within the field. And I know that long distance can be really tricky and really daunting, especially if it's your first long distance relationship. So I thought that I could offer some tips and advice to help you and your partner make it work. And yeah, I don't think long distance has to be a deal breaker. So if you're feeling that way or feeling overwhelmed by it, hopefully this video helps and gives you just some hope. Long distance relationship was actually coming out of high school and my first year of university. So that one was only 3 hours long distance. So it was not that bad considering my relationship now is, what's the time difference? 5 hour time difference long distance, because I live in Ontario, Canada, and my current partner, Thomas, the love of my life, lives in England. Okay, so it is a 5 hour difference. That is obviously a lot harder than a 3 hour drive long distance, but still that was my first long distance relationship because we were only seeing each other once every 2 weeks when we could train back and forth because neither of us were gonna make that drive. The tips that I'm saying now still apply to that first relationship in terms of talking, communication, etc. But I think that obviously my relationship now, I've learned a lot more about long distance and how to make it work. So if you are doing like time difference long distance, then my heart goes out to you because that is definitely trickier, but it's okay, we've got this. So first I'm going to tell you guys the story about how me and Thomas met because it is cute. So we actually met last summer. He messaged me last January, last January he messaged me, DM'd me my clothing brand to ask if I needed a photographer. And initially I was like, unfortunately I'm a small business, like I can't afford it, but thank you so much. And then he was like, no, let's work around it. I really want to work with your brand. So we talked for 6 months professionally, of course, trying to make something work with my brand. And so we decided we're gonna shoot in France at a castle. And that is what we did. So we met in July at a castle in France, true love story. And yeah, he was a photographer for my brand. And then after I came back, we started talking more and more. And then we ended up traveling to Spain together. I was doing my work away and he came and met up with me in Spain. And then we did Italy together. And then from there, it just flourished. So yeah, that's how we met. It's a really cute story. And we obviously knew from the very beginning that it was going to be long distance, but both of us wanted to make it work. And that's a key thing, is that both of you have to want to make it work. There has to be the want there. Otherwise, it's just, you have to believe in it. That's what he always says to me as well. Like, we have to believe in it and give it a try. And if you do, then there's always going to be hope. Last year, Thomas and I saw each other quite a bit. I went to the UK probably like 5 times. I spent over 100 days out of the country last year traveling with him, and that also got very expensive. So I'm not going to be doing that this time around. However, we have gone longer periods of time being apart, like 3 months is kind of the longest we've been apart. But I know couples who have been apart for 6 months, even a full year without seeing each other. That is very tricky. I don't know if I could do that, especially because I've gotten used to seeing him every 6 to 8 weeks on average. But we are definitely going to be seeing each other a little bit less just because next year I want to save more, although I'm really grateful for us traveling together as well. If you can't see each other, which most long distance couples can't see each other that often because obviously traveling is expensive and people work and you've got your own lives. So the first thing that I would highly recommend is have a dedicated call schedule. Now, this is something that you especially need if you are in different time zones. So Thomas and I call like every day, clockwork, 4:30, 5 p.m. Now we're doing 4 p.m. because he wants to go to bed earlier, but we would call every day like clockwork at 5 p.m. to the point where my mom even would be like, oh, you have a date with Thomas at 5 p.m. She treated it as if he was actually here and we had a date night. Every day I know, okay, I have to have most of my work done by 5 p.m. so that I can spend an hour and a half just focusing on him, just talking to him. And then after the call, when he goes to sleep, I can continue doing work or whatever. But I know every day I try to be home for 5 p.m. to call him. And that schedule really works for the both of us because obviously we're both still our individual people. We have very busy lives, and having that distinct time really works for us. And it's something I can look forward to every single day. And we also call each other in the morning. So of course he is 5 hours ahead, so I call him when I wake up. There are times, of course, where we can't talk because he's too busy on a job or I have stuff going on with family. So we'll still always communicate, hey, like, can't call tonight, but I'll call you tomorrow, which is important as well if you can't make the date, because you have to think of it, like I said, as an actual date. You wouldn't just stand them up, you know, you wouldn't just not say anything. So you have to communicate. There are, of course, times where you might feel too tired to talk, or maybe you just had a really bad day. So of course you can communicate that with them and say, I'm not up for talking tonight. Or something that we do as well is if we're just too tired to chat, but we still want to be in each other's, you know, online presence, we'll watch a show together. And that's also something that I look forward to as well, is just talking to him for a little and then watching our show, because I also just love the show that we're watching. We're currently going through Elite on Netflix. It's a great show. There's a lot of crime and mystery, but it's a really great show. We like it. And we are going to start watching the new Senna show on Netflix as well. Another idea for your calls together, if you want an activity, because maybe you've already exhausted all of your talking options and you don't feel like watching Netflix. Something that you guys can do is actually take a class together on Skillshare. So this is a great idea because you guys can learn and grow together as a couple. And there are so many different options as well on there to choose from. So for Thomas and I, we both love Pinterest. Okay, we are obsessed with it and we're constantly on it for inspiration because we are both creative people. However, we're now trying to use it and leverage it to help our businesses grow. So for him, his photography, trying to get more exposure. He is such an amazing photographer. And for me, my clothing brand. So something that we've been doing together is we've been taking Peg Fitzpatrick's class together on Skillshare. Now this is really great because she goes through so many different aspects of Pinterest and breaks it down for you so that if you're completely new to the platform, which I was last year, she teaches you exactly where to start. She goes through how to create a successful pin. She talks about how to use hashtags. Hashtags can be so tricky to get the hang of, so I love that she talks about that. And she also talks about pin codes, which I didn't even know were a thing, so that was helpful as well for my business. And this has been really great for me and Thomas, doing this together, holding each other accountable to learning and growing. And the thing is that he is a procrastinator when it comes to posting. So I am trying to hold him accountable to a posting schedule for the new year on Pinterest because I just know there's so much value in it for sharing his photography. But I'm sure you guys already know that Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes in different categories to choose from, like animation, production, entrepreneurship, etc., led by industry experts. Something that would be a great idea as well is like learning an instrument together. If both of you want to learn an instrument, Thomas and I both want to learn to play the piano, or learning a new language. If you guys are planning a trip together somewhere, Thomas and I both love Italy, and so we want to learn Italian. That might be the next class we take on Skillshare. I might have to look into that. He also needs to learn French though. So there's so many different options, long distance or not. I'd highly recommend it. Join Skillshare today, and the first 500 people who use my link in the description will get a 1 month free trial of Skillshare. So you and your partner can try out a class and learn and grow together. I think it's a great activity, especially for long distance partners to do together. Learn a language, learn an instrument, learn how to grow your business. Check out Skillshare, join the community, and I'll have the link in the description, like I said. And a huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Now another idea, but this depends on your guys' time difference or time schedule. But if you are in the same province, just live like a 7-hour drive away, then this could be helpful, is doing dinner dates together. That could be really cute. This is something that I wish Thomas and I could do, but with the time difference, it just doesn't work out. I would love to go on FaceTime and try a new recipe together, cook together, and then eat the meal together on FaceTime, of course. I just think it would be so adorable. Even like making sure that you guys dress up and make a proper date out of it. Like I said, treat it as a physical date. I think that this would be so adorable. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work with our time difference because he's 5 hours ahead. So by the time I'm having dinner, he's basically asleep. Yes, then you learn how to cook so that by the time you guys actually do live together in the same time zone, you have a whole boatload of recipes that you guys know how to cook. Else that we do is, well, more so me, I take him along with me shopping. I'll literally have him on FaceTime at Winners while I'm showing him different things that I'm thinking of buying, and I'll get his opinion. So I take him on little outings with me on FaceTime. Of course, it does use up more data if I'm using WhatsApp or whatnot, but definitely make sure that you've got Wi-Fi at the mall because that eats away at your data. But that's a fun little thing that I do too. I love his opinion on anything. Also remembering that the little things really do matter. And something that Thomas does with me that really means so much to me is throughout the day, he'll send like little pictures of us, like just miss you, or little photos from like our memories together. And I love it so much. I love looking back at our memories, and him sending the photos just shows me that he's thinking about me throughout the day. And I do that with him, vice versa. Obviously, you know, we're not talking all day throughout the day. It'll just be, we talk in the morning, and then maybe around lunch, he'll send me a picture of us together, and then we chat, you know, for our FaceTime dinner. But I like to know that he still thought about me throughout the day. Or if I see something that reminds me of him, I'll send him a picture of it. Just letting your partner know that they're on your mind. And something that I can't do with him, but I used to do way in the past in high school, is I would Uber Eats them something, you know? So this is great if you live in a city that has Uber Eats or Skip the Dishes. Thomas, he lives in the countryside, so there's no Uber Eats out there. But sending someone coffee if they've had a bad day, or sending them dinner if they're not feeling well and don't feel up to cooking, surprising them with an Uber Eats is honestly like such a big deal. I've even had friends do that for me where I'm feeling really sick, and then they'll be like, hey, soup is at your door in 10 minutes. I'll text you when they get there. If you can make it downstairs to pick it up, that's all you need to do. You can also send your partner like surprise flowers or surprise little gifts. You know, those surprises can mean so much on long distance, to just show that even when you guys aren't physically there together, you're still thinking of each other. Something that I do for Thomas, I really should get back into it because I kind of fell off the habit a little, but I used to send him love letters. My penmanship is really terrible, but I used to send him love letters, and he still has them all. I think that that's really adorable for us to keep even when we get old, although it is a bit difficult now with Canada Post on strike, so I might have to send letters via like DHL or something. Something that I would really recommend, even if you are long distance, is knowing each other's love language. Now, if you live together, this can obviously be a bit easier, because if their love language is physical touch, then of course you can, you know, touch them. It's harder if it's long distance, but trying to find ways around it to make it work. I think physical touch is probably the hardest to make work. But something that I did for Thomas is I sent him a Build-A-Bear with my voice in it. So at least if he ever misses me, he can cuddle that. My top love language is acts of service. So that could be when I'm really struggling with something, Thomas will just be like, send me the file, I'll get it done for you. Don't worry, I can help you edit this. That's really helpful because he is in the same creative space as me, but he's a lot better at editing and whatnot than I am. So he'll help with stuff like that. That's like an act of service, you know? I'm trying to think of the other ones. There's active service, there's gifts, you know, sending someone a surprise gift, communication, making sure you guys are always talking to each other. And what's the other one? I think the other one is quality time, right? So again, scheduling those calls together, doing the quality time activity. If there is trouble in paradise, make sure that you guys are communicating. I know it sounds so silly to say, but it's really important. Don't let things fester, you know, try to talk it out. But if you do need space, that is also okay, but you have to communicate that and make sure that your partner doesn't feel abandoned, because it's not okay to ignore someone for days or not text them at all. You have to communicate the fact that, hey, I need space. I'll call you tomorrow. I just need some time to sleep on things, but you know, if there's an emergency or anything, I'm still here. You know, making sure that you're still offering like, hey, I'm here, but I do need space. Like, I'm not abandoning you, I just need space. That's something I learned in therapy and something that can just help regardless if this is long distance or not. If you are having a ton of feelings like me, I've got so many feelings all the time as a Pisces. Sometimes before I talk to Thomas about them, I'll write them out or I'll do a voice video. Like, I'll literally sit here and just talk to myself because I'm so used to doing that from YouTube that talking to myself and just getting it out feels so good. And then I'm like, wow, I feel so much better. Maybe I overreacted about something. And then I talk to him. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes we can just get so caught up in our own heads. And I am a chronic overthinker. Okay, I overthink everything, which is the worst thing you can do, especially in a long distance relationship, because you don't have that constant reassurance when someone's not right beside you. So making sure that you're working through your own feelings and be like, maybe I should have reacted differently, is important. If you are long distance, I am sending you big hugs, big love, and all of my support, because I know that it can be so tricky, and it's especially hard, you know, when you are so completely infatuated in love with someone that you can't be together and you have to wait to be together. It can be so hard, but I will say that it makes the moments that you guys are together in person so much better, doesn't it? You know, because it just feels extra special. I'm wishing you all the best of luck on your long distance journey, and I hope that you guys can be together in person soon. And again, huge thank you to Skillshare, and you guys can use my link in the description. The first 500 people to use that link will get a 1-month free trial at Skillshare. Okay, I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. Of course, leave any video ideas in the comments below. Bye guys.